Skinny Hardaway Southern T. Back with another EP. Y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that like button for your boy. When you roll on in. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time, I greatly appreciate you sliding through. I ain't right up under the computer, right? So I hope y'all can hear me in the sound of my voice. We gonna make it do what it do. This morning we gonna have us a little boxing talk. I got some news that you could use. Y'all know y'all got that thing from me. It's niggas in my city they're stealing my slogans and shit now, though. But it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. You can borrow it. You can borrow that, big bro. You can borrow that, big bro. But I digress, man. Southern T with some news that you could use. We gonna talk a little 154-pound division, right? Give y'all a little update on what's going on with this 154-pound division. We gonna talk about some of our favorite fighters today, right? Also, I got an article, right, that you know that I'm gonna read this from in case you know you don't want to take my word for it. You know, some of y'all believe who you believe, right? Let me do a sound check real quick. Favorite fighters today, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, sound check done. So you know, some of y'all believe who y'all believe. So you know what I mean. But got some news that you could use today. Today we gonna talk a little Spence. We gonna talk a little Sebastian Fundora. We gonna talk a little bit Crawford, and we gonna talk a lot of 154. So y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. Well, the highly anticipated return of Spence Jr. continues, right, to kind of, you know, engulf the boxing world. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but if you don't know, I'm here to tell you. First things first, man, let me say what's up to everybody that's in the building that's passing through. Make sure I get y'all when y'all slide in. Y'all do your boy solid. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy when you slide in there as well. But what's good? Shout out my brother's keeper. Appreciate you sliding through this thing. My brother's keeper. We got my girl Jazz. What's good, Jazz? Appreciate you sliding through this thing. My girl Jazz. What's good? He was good. If y'all could tap that thumbs up for your boy, share the video or whatnot. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We got my guy DS. What's good, DS? What's good, DS? Appreciate you sliding through. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. Shout out my guy DS. TWTea. What's good, TWTea? Appreciate you sliding through. My boy TWTea said, what is this slander here? Bud Crawford, the best fighter in the world, can't be ducking. Nah, him. What's good, TWTea, man? We gonna talk about it. We about to talk about it. I think that's everybody that I got so far. I see my boy DS coming. I see my boy DS coming in there. We finna make it do what it do, though, right? So I don't know if y'all, you know, was hip to it, right? Or if y'all was on it, or maybe y'all wasn't on it, right? But shortly after Bud Crawford's fight, Sebastian Fundora's last fight, right? The WBO made it a thing that Sebastian Fundora and Bud Crawford would have to fight one another. Now, over time, right, when they first announced it, right, that, you know, there was going to be the mandatory, you know, the hoopla started with, you know, Fundora and Bud and whatnot. Since then, it's kind of died down. What I'm here to tell you why the talks, you know, kind of died down, right? That's because Bud Crawford has chosen to go a separate way, right? So Bud Crawford has effectively, ineffectively decided not to fight Sebastian Fundora. Now he didn't, you know, physically or verbally, I guess, duck Sebastian Fundora, right? And maybe duck is the wrong word, right? He decided to go a different way as far as their Fundora fight, right? So Bud will not be challenging. Right, for the WBO title. Effectively, right? I don't know if you noticed, but maybe you want to check it out now, right? Because you don't necessarily have to take my word for it. Effectively, Sebastian Fundora has become the full champ in the WBO's division, right? You go look at it. When Bud Crawford moved up, he automatically had a shot, you know, at the current title holder. Well, there wasn't a current title holder, right? Sebastian Fundora was in this spot. If Bud wanted to have that title at the 154-pound division, you know, they gave him a shot. They sanctioned the fight. Well, they mandated a fight between him and Sebastian Fundora So Bud Crawford decided not to take on Sebastian Fundora for that WBO title. So Sebastian Fundora is now, the full WBO champ, and Bud Crawford is the interim WBO champ, right? So just news that you could use, right? So some people feel like that Bud Crawford ducked Sebastian Fundora, right? Some people are solely putting it on it being a business decision. Which way you look at it, right? Bud Crawford versus Sebastian Fundora is probably out of the picture, right? So now I got 12 people in here. Let me get all 12 of y'all to hit that thumbs up for your boy. Rather you just passing through. Don't just be a nosy neighbor, right? Be a helpful neighbor. Hit that thumbs up. Drop a comment. Let YouTube know that we live. Let YouTube know that we on here making it do what it do. Let YouTube know that TWTea back out here giving you that news that you could use. Or you could get the fuck up out of here. That works too. No sweat off my back. No sweat off my back either way, right? So Bud Crawford and Sebastian Fundora is off the table. Want to make sure I did my due diligence to tell y'all that, because I did tell y'all previously that fight was, a thing. It's probably not going to happen due to Bud Crawford. Probably not going to happen due to Bud Crawford, deciding that I would rather not fight Sebastian Fundora, right? So next in line, it would have been Tim Tszyu, but Tim Tszyu just suffered a defeat to the current IBF champion, right? So that kind of knocks Tim Tszyu out of the way as well. So now we all know that Fundora was an opponent, right? Choice of Errol Spence. After Fundora's last fight, Errol Spence got in the ring and he mentioned, to everybody, to the world, that he wants to make a return and that he wants to fight Sebastian Fundora in Dallas, Texas, right? So the wheels got turning. Coach Jizzle was good. So the wheels got turning, right, with the Errol Spence and the Sebastian Fundora thing in Texas. Now, the Sebastian Fundora and Errol Spence thing is a real thing, right? Now, there have been other offers, put on the table for Errol Spence if this particular, fight doesn't pan out with Sebastian Fundora. But what's being put on the table right now for Errol Spence, Sebastian Fundora, is that Sebastian Fundora and Errol Spence Jr., now they was targeting January 25th, but now I'm thinking that it's going to be pushed back even a little farther than that, right? But they're targeting Errol Spence and Sebastian Fundora in Dallas, Texas. New news, right? I don't know if you know, but I'm here to tell you, shout out my guy, Coach Joe, shout out my guy, DS. I'm finna read y'all comments. Matter of fact, let me read some of y'all comments because I said enough. I'm going to keep going. Let me see if y'all saying, something. If y'all got some questions or something in here. TWTea said Bud could be making another chess move. He probably thinks Errol is an easier fight, even if he wins, and it's definitely a bigger fight. So TWTea, would that be strategically ducking Sebastian Fundora? So you feeling like Errol is an easier fight, but TWTea, I could argue that as well. He could have already fought Errol at 154. He told Errol Spence that he wouldn't fight Errol Spence at 154 because he wanted to fight him at 147. And then he ended up going to 154, right? So even if you want to say that, I could say you could have been fought Errol Spence. You know what I mean? But I digress. But I always have been one of the ones that's saying that Errol and Bud will fight again, and it's probably going to be for undisputed or unification at 154. Now you see how it's starting to work itself out. But anyway, I digress. Shout out to my guy, TWTea. He said Bud should fight bankroll now. That way Fundora Spence winner is for undisputed. TWTea said boxing is one. How the fuck are you full champ and the interim champ? Sebastian Fundora is the full champ now, TWTea, and Bud is the interim champ. Right? Shout out my guy, Coach Joe. Was good, Coach Joe. TWTea is in the building. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, man. Glad you can make it. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy, whether you just passing through or you stand and you making it do what it do. I know some of y'all support us. Some of y'all just nosy neighbors. Either way, I appreciate you sliding through because I'm going to get the view anyway. Y'all know I'm going to be up for my monetization back in a minute. So we just getting back in the flow real quick, Shout out my guy, D Free. What's good, D Free? Appreciate you sliding through this thing. If y'all could hit that thumbs up for your boy, man. We about to get back to this boxing talk. Just want to hop in the comments, read, what y'all had to say, if y'all had to say anything pertaining to what's going on. let's get back to it, right? So just to answer your question real quick, TWTea, Bud is the interim champ and Sebastian Fundora is the full champ, right? Because Bud decided not to fight Sebastian Fundora. So now the ball is in Sebastian Fundora's court because we know that the WBC also made Sebastian Fundora their full champ. So now Sebastian Fundora is the champion of the WBC, and he's also the champion of the WBO. You know what I mean? So Fundora is now a 2-belt champ. So for Errol Spence, if I'm Errol Spence, right, that's the perfect fight for me. We all know the kind of guy that Errol Spence is. Errol Spence, you know, he's a guy who's famous for saying, you know, I don't need no tune-up. Some people saying Errol Spence needs to retire. Some people saying Errol Spence should probably take a tune-up. Maybe Errol Spence should have took a tune-up, right, in September or something like that to get himself ready. But we all know Errol Spence, he's the big fish. He jumping in that deep water, and he making things happen, right? So Bud actually not fighting Sebastian Fundora makes it an even better fight for Errol Spence, an even bigger fight, an even bigger opportunity for Errol Spence. So now you have Sebastian Fundora versus Errol Spence, possibly for a 2-belt and 1 unification, right? So effectively, we got Sebastian Fundora and we got Errol Spence possibly going to be for 2 belts the next time that they get in their ring. Now, back to what I was saying, the WBO convention, the problem with this, right, my bad, let me slow down just a little bit. Now, the problem with this is the WBO had deemed, you know, Errol Spence not eligible because he wasn't in the top 10 of the WBO, right? So that was the biggest, you know, stifler in this up until this point. Well, the WBO had a convention, what's the day, Tuesday? I think the WBO Monday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday. I think the WBO convention was Friday. If I'm not mistaken, WBO had a convention in which Errol Spence and his team, right, they lobbied to the WBO to make Errol Spence a top 10 contender in the WBO so that both of Fundora's belts could be on the line, the WBC belt and the WBO belt. Now it's going to be up to the WBO to decide whether they're going to push this move through or not, right? But if you look at the guys that's ranked in the WBO top 10, which is what we're about to do in just a second, right? If you look at the guys that's ranked in the WBO top 10, you could argue that Errol Spence, right, should be ranked ahead of at least, you know, 3 or 4 of those guys right now, which leads me to believe, right? Y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. 13 people in the building. I got 12 likes. That means there's one person here that ain't hit that like button yet. Y'all do your boy solid right now. Stop what you're doing. Let YouTube know that we live, man. Y'all gonna give me the 20 likes. I have more than 20 of y'all in here already. Y'all do the right thing like Spike Lee, right? So the fact that, you know, which we're about to take a look at this list in a second, right? So the fact that Errol Spence, I feel like is already more qualified than at least, you know, the guys at the bottom of the list, probably more qualified than some of the guys at the top. That leads me to believe that the WBO is actually going to give Errol Spence his top 10 ranking, because why wouldn't they? Unless it's something that Bob Arum wouldn't like. But anyway, I digress. Errol Spence and his team, they petitioned, they rallied, they lobbied for Errol Spence to be moved into the top 10 of the WBO as well, so that he could have, so that this fight between Fundora and Errol Spence will be for the WBO and the WBC. Now, I'm one who believes that this fight is going to get pushed through. So I'm looking at it not the fight, the ranking, right? Errol Spence's top 10 ranking will be pushed through. You got guys on that list. You got Tim Tszyu, who just lost his second fight, right? You could lobby that Errol Spence should be ranked in front of Tim Tszyu. You got Andrea, he's from Detroit, man. Pretty good fighter too, Andrea Holmes. You got Andrea Holmes, who only has about 12 fights under his belt, right? Errol Spence most definitely could be ranked above, Andrea Holmes. Shout out Andrea Holmes, nice little prospect. Guess he's a contender now, being in the top 10, right? So I'm thinking Errol Spence can slide in front of those guys, right? And this fight is going to be sanctioned for the WBO and for the WBC belts, right? So a lot of people, you know, felt like that Errol Spence was done, right? He's about to retire. That is the furthest thing from the truth. Errol Spence is actually gearing up for what could possibly be a double unification between him and Sebastian Fundora, which very well could be between him and Sebastian Fundora. Let me read a couple of y'all comments here. Make sure I ain't miss none of y'all comments. See if y'all, talk or y'all talking amongst yourself. My guy, Coach Joe, said Bud strategically duck. He's going to let EJ handle that for him so he can swoop in and ride his name for the rematch when he don't get the Canelo fight. Shout out my guy, Coach Jills. Appreciate you sliding through. I like how I only got 3 of y'all coming, but I got 15 people in here. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate all my supporters and my watchers. Shout out the gang. Glad y'all coming to hang. My guy TWTea said, I think it is. Nothing wrong with it. But yes, it is a strategic duck. He's my guy, Coach Joe. He said, which was crazy work by the WBO. My guy, Coach Joe, said, but we already knew he had no intention of fighting Fundora. As soon as he saw EJ get in that ring, guess what he did? Attached himself to EJ again. Shout out my guy, Coach Joe. Shout out my guy, Coach Joe, right? But let's get back to it. Let's get back to it, right? So basically, before this bout becomes official, right? Because it's not official right now. It's just highly likely, I'm getting ahead, right? I'm getting out ahead and letting y'all know what's going on because I haven't seen nobody talk about this. I haven't seen nobody talk about this fight possibly being for unification. Haven't seen nobody talk about this fight in general for a minute, but I just wanted to come in here and give y'all an update on this. We go take a look at the WBO rankings in just a second because pending if the WBO allows Errol Spence to get that top 10 ranking, is going to decide whether this going to be for, unification. And I think it very well should be. I think it very well could be. Now, if I'm Bud Crawford, right, I feel like we've been here before, right? I feel like we kind of been here before with the Errol and the Bud situation, right? You got Errol Spence collecting the belts, right? Then you got Bud Crawford kind of, just sitting around. And I guess ain't nothing wrong with that, right? But at some point, to cut this in half, right? I believe Terrence Crawford should go and he should fight the guy that just knocked out Tim Tszyu. His name right now is passing me. His name right now is passing me. You know what I mean? The guy that just beat up Tim Tszyu, right? But if I'm Bud Crawford, if I'm not gonna fight Sebastian Fundora, which I think is a big name, like I'm not one of the ones who's gonna sit here and say, well, Bud didn't do it. Yeah, it's unification. If he is Earl will be unified. Mr. Info, Mr. Smart Man, Mr. Come out here and pick out. Mr. Come in here and try to pick out the flaw. Yeah, Earl will be unified champ. It'll be unification because it'll be 2 belts. And it'll be unification because Sebastian Fundora never defended the straps. He's been given the belts. So effectively, he's fighting for both belts. Because he hadn't fought for 1 belt yet. He's been given both belts. He was made the WBC champ. He was made the WBO champ. So they both will be fighting for the 2 belts. But I digress, Mr. Literal. Shout out, Mr. Info. Mr. Info, did you at least hit the thumbs up? Because I ain't never seen you in here. Not one time. You ain't say what's up. You ain't say shit. So I'm going to take it as if you a hater or you very disrespectful. I'm going to take it you a hater or you very disrespectful. So what I'm going to need you to do is I'm going to need you to either speak to the motherfucking host or I'm going to have my guys in the chat take care of you. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna need for you to come in here with some respect, or I'm gonna have them escort your ass on up out of here. But I digress. So you make your next move your best move. But I digress. If the WBO, does decide to give Errol that top 10, if the WBO does decide to give Earl that top 10 ranking, yeah, speak when you come here. Before you come here trying to correct motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Because I only think you've been in here 2 seconds before you heard what I was saying. But I digress. Y'all say what's up to Info. Carl Brown, a.k.a. C Breezy. Appreciate you sliding through here, Carl Brown. If you could, Carl Brown, hit that thumbs up for your boy and subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate you sliding Greatly appreciate you sliding through this thing, man. We ain't here having us a 154. We ain't here having us a 154 conversation. And again, y'all, hey, Info, this your first time being here? Subscribe to the channel, Brody. Subscribe to the channel, Brody. And I'm gonna know if you stunt. And I'm gonna know if you stunt too. Because I got 4,487 subscribers. This your first time, Info? I need you to subscribe to the channel, my boy. That's what I need you. That's what I need you to do. That's what I need you to do. But I digress. That Michael Bench report is all ready for unification because Bud stepped aside. Yeah, but it's not for unification because Errol Spence is not ranked in the top 10 in the WBO. Let me put this up here what Coach Joe said. It's not for unification just yet. Don't be listening to Mike Benson, Coach Jizzle. It ain't official just yet. Earl them went to the WBO and they asked to be put inside the top 10 ranking. Until Errol Spence is put inside the top 10 ranking, then it's not official just yet. You know what I mean? Because Earl ain't made it inside of the top 10. All this is pending if Errol Spence is granted permission to get inside of that top 10 by the WBO, which the WBO hadn't announced just yet. That's really what we waiting on. That's why we hadn't got an Errol Spence title announcement. That's what we waiting on. Like everybody see Earl fight keep getting pushed back. You know, you got the crazy people. Shout out my guy that just subscribed to the channel too. I appreciate you, Info. Shout out my guy Info for subscribing to the channel. Shout out my guy Info for subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. But I digress. See that you're doing a good job. You popped on my feed, do your thing. Shout out my guy Info. Shout out my guy. Let me drop the dragon one time for my guy Info for letting me know that I popped up on his feed. Appreciate that. That means that everybody in here is probably doing their business, doing their thing, and helping your boy, you know, getting the algo. Shout out my boy Info. Shout out my boy Carl Brown. Carl Brown, did they rank Earl at 10 in the WBO? Let's check it out. Okay, so let's check it out. Let's check it out, man. Let's check it out. So maybe they did do it. It's Tuesday morning. Maybe they woke up Tuesday morning. Was like, yeah, let's go ahead and push this thing through. So let's check it out. Shout out my girl, TWTea, MMA. What's good, TWTea? Appreciate you sliding through. Y'all could hit that thumbs up for it, but really just pass through. Carl Brown. Shout out my guy Carl Brown. Carl Brown, are you subscribed to the channel? And I'm finna continue with the boxing talk, right? I'm just making sure I get everybody, you know, I read everybody comment today. Shout out my girl TWTea. She said, why is the fight not happening though? Which okay, for sure, TWTea. Which fight you talking about, TWTea? I mean, which fight you talking about, TWTea? That's not happening. You talking about Bud and Fundora? Errol and Fundora probably is going to happen. Bud and Fundora is not going to happen because Bud has chosen not to fight Sebastian Fundora. So Sebastian Fundora has been named the full champ in the WBO, and he's the full champ in the WBC. Right? Bud decided, you know, not to fight him, which opened up the door for Errol Spence. Now what Errol Spence and his team is trying to do is they're trying to have the WBC title and they're trying to have the WBO title on the line. Errol Spence is already ranked in the WBC. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get him, his team, they're trying to get him put inside of the top 10 in the WBO so that him and Fundora can fight for both straps. So Fundora can fight for both straps, right? But let's go to this WBO ranking right here. WBO 154 rankings, right? So basically, Fundora and Errol Spence are going to fight for the WBC. That's already set in stone, right? What's going on now is they're trying to have the WBO belt on the line as well. They're able to get the WBO belt on the line as well because Bud Crawford decided that he didn't want to fight Sebastian Fundora for whatever reason. Now, some people say, well, he ducked him. Some people say, well, he just wanted to fight a bigger fight. Well, I think Sebastian Fundora is a pretty big fight, right? Figuratively and literally, right? I think that is a pretty big fight. So I'm not really sure exactly what, Bud is thinking, right? Maybe if he fights the other champ in the division, we can get something going, right? But here we go. WBO ranking system. They haven't put Errol Spence in the ranking systems just yet, right? But let me tell y'all why I think that Errol Spence is actually going to get his wish and this fight is going to happen, right? So let's present this screen. Let's screen share. Let's screen share. Let's head over to the WBO rankings, right? Let's head over to the WBO rankings, right? Got this already up for y'all. You see this? So as you can see, right, you have Sebastian Fundora, who is officially the WBO champ now. Bud Crawford is the interim champ, right? You got Terrence Crawford, who's the champion in the WBA. You got Jermell Charlo in recess, right? So Jermell Charlo and Bud Crawford very well could be on the collision course, right? And then you got Virgil Ortiz, who we're about to talk about in a little second as well, right? The interim champ in the WBC, and Sebastian Fundora. Errol Spence is ranked number 1 in the WBC. So that fight, Errol Spence versus Fundora for the WBC, that fight is already a lock. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get Errol Spence ranked in the top 10 of this WBO ranking system, right? And let me tell y'all why I think that it's going to happen. Let's start with number 10. You got number 10 being Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu has had 2 losses within the last 365 days, right? Now, Errol Spence did have a loss, but Tim Tszyu has had a more recent loss than Errol Spence. So I think Errol Spence should be able to come in above Tim Tszyu coming off his recent loss. You got Andrea Holmes, who only has about 13 fights, pretty good fighter, right? But not as credentialed as Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. has way more fights. He has more titles at a different division, right? More accomplishments at a lower division. So moving up, I probably would rank him above Andrea Holmes as well. Then you got Fredis Rojas, you got Jorge Garcia, you got Cordell Booker. Errol Spence is also, a lot more accomplished than those guys. So Errol Spence could fall into this ranking anywhere, I think, comfortably between, honestly, if we're being honest, Errol Spence can fall anywhere between, he can fall anywhere in the top 10. You know what I mean? You got Xander Zayas, you got Josh Kelly, you got Charles Conwell, then you got Inoue brother, who I think just lost, right? So Errol Spence is going up against some guys who I think he's already more credentialed in. So I'm looking at it as if the WBO, is going to make this happen. So when Errol Spence returns, it's probably going to be against, Sebastian Fundora, and it's probably going to be for unification, right? As my brother Info. And it's probably going to be for unification when he returns. You right, you know what I mean? But I also got another scenario for y'all. I got 2 other scenarios for y'all pertaining to Errol Spence. This is the fight, right, that I'm thinking is going to happen with Sebastian Fundora. But there are a couple other options that Spence has had on the table, a couple other names that's floating around. Now, let's just say that this fight doesn't get made for both titles, right? Even if it doesn't get made for both titles, I'm thinking that Errol Spence is still going to want to go through with it because it will be for the WBC. They already got that in their pocket, right? But let's just say for some reason, Bud Crawford decides that he wants to fight Sebastian Fundora. Bud Crawford would then be, in line to fight Sebastian Fundora. So Bud decides to change his mind. Bud will be first to get that fight, right, for the WBO. I'm also hearing that they're floating around, Virgil Ortiz. What's good, Fizzle? Virgil Ortiz is ranked in the 154-pound division now, right? He's the interim champ in the WBC. Oscar De La Hoya mentioned that, he could throw out, Virgil Ortiz for a fight, but they've been throwing out Virgil Ortiz's name for Bud Crawford, for Errol Spence for some years now. Never really materialized, right? But Oscar De La Hoya did say something about that. Now, that's a different company, different sanctioning body, not different sanctioning body, same sanctioning body, WBC, but that's a different promotion, right, with the zone. Also, one that I think is Errol's real backup plan in case something happens here, right? Shout out to my guy G5. The thing that I think is Errol's real backup plan if something goes wrong with this Sebastian Fundora and Errol Spence fight, I'm hearing right now, this ain't been put on record just yet, right? But I've heard it from a couple different people, couple different places, right? The Islanda Lara could also be a fight matchup for Errol Spence at 160. You know what I mean? So either way, Errol Spence will be returning, and he'd be returning to a title fight. Now, I'm thinking, right, just in my mind, I'm thinking Errol probably wants to fight this unification title fight at 154. And if I'm Errol Spence, I will go straight to 160 and fight Lara. If Errol is successful in beating Fundora, why not go Fundora and then go Lara at 160 to become 3-division champ, right? But Islanda Lara at 160 is also a fight that I'm hearing that's a possibility for Errol Spence. Now, I do think the fight that he wants most, the fight that they want most, PBC, Errol Spence, is the Fundora for unification for the WBO and the WBC. But there are a couple, there are a few different options right now, but the leading candidate is most definitely this Fundora fight. That's the fight that Errol Spence and his team want. And it looks like that's the fight. It looks like that's the fight that they're going to pursue. Y'all do your boy solid, man. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. Say I got 8 likes in here. No more than 8 of y'all been through here. It's 15 of y'all in here right now. Greatly appreciate y'all folks. Greatly appreciate y'all folks sliding through this thing. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. But Sebastian Fundora is the fight that they're seeking, which is why they went to the WBO convention, right? Which is why they went to the WBO convention, because they're trying to get the WBO to make that fight for unification. The WBO said that if the WBO originally said that if Fundora was to fight Errol Spence, that he will be stripped of his status in the WBO ranking system. So what PBC and their side did was they're now trying to get Errol Spence sanctioned in the top 10 for the WBO. You know what I mean? Which makes a whole lot of sense. So for all the people, the Errol Spence is done, the Errol Spence is dead, he should just retire. That's the furthest thing from the truth. And if you check out this picture that I posted with Errol Spence, no, you probably haven't seen this picture anywhere, right? That's a recent picture. That's a recent picture from Errol Spence. Y'all can't find that picture on this Instagram. Can't find that picture nowhere. That's a recent picture from Errol Spence, training recently. I could personally tell y'all that picture that I got up there of Errol Spence, that's him training this week. That picture came from this week. So that's where Errol Spence looks like as of now. So the fact that Errol Spence is training as of now further lets me know that this man is dead ass serious about, making this comeback. But let me get in the chat real quick. Let me see if y'all said something in the chat that I missed before we get to the next part of this. Shout out my girl TWTea. She said, what's the hold up? Which fight? The people have to really respect Errol Spence Jr. because he really don't take tune-ups. Real talk. Yeah, facts. He said, man, I think Crawford ducked him. Let's call a spade a spade. We all know what a ducks looks like. You're talking about Fundora back-to-back too. It's a collision course at 154. Been saying it for months. They fighting at 154 in the rematch. So they definitely got to give Earl that wish because the guy was taking belts one by one off the champs. He said Canelo or EJ at 54. Coach Canelo might. Okay, yes. None of my business. Lara. Okay, I think I'm all caught up. One thing people can't say about Spence, don't be giving the fans big fights. He most definitely give the fans the biggest fights. He most definitely give the fans the biggest fights. He most definitely gives the fans the biggest fight. That's why I like Errol Spence, man, because ain't no nonsense. You don't hear a whole lot of foo-foo. You don't hear Errol Spence. You don't hear Errol Spence saying, yeah, I'm going to fight. I've been taking Tank shot. I ain't going to take no shot at Tank. But you don't hear Errol Spence. But you don't hear Errol Spence saying that I'm going to fight this guy, I'm going to fight that guy, and then that fight don't happen. You know what I mean? Errol Spence had it set out in his mind. He wanted to fight Bud so bad. He won't fight nobody else but bad. He let himself, get rusty. He let himself get rusty sitting on the shelf because he wanted to fight Bud so bad. You know what I mean? So one thing, facts though. One thing you can say about Spence is Spence gonna most definitely give you your money's worth, and he gonna put on the show. He gonna put on the show. He gonna give you the best fights. But sometimes I wish Errol Spence would take little tune-up fights, right? I wish Errol Spence made it took. I wish Errol Spence made it took a little tune-up. You know what I mean? I wish he would have took a little tune-up maybe in September, just a scrub. Just fight somebody in the top 15 in your joint, just so you can keep yourself, you know what I mean, loose a little bit. But at this point, man, this Errol Spence, this how that dude move, and I guess we just gonna have to accept it, right? But him fighting Sebastian Fundora, that's looking like what's about to go down, right? That's looking like that's going to be the move, like that's the game plan for Errol and his team. Again, the WBO convention. Now, notice you don't really see nobody else talking about this. You don't see nobody really, getting into depth about this. But the WBO convention was just last weekend, right? So whatever is about to happen, whatever is about to be put on the table, it's probably about to be put on the table soon, right? So, you got some people, they say Errol will be fighting in December, then they say Errol will be fighting in January, and then you have people saying, oh, Errol Spence is retiring, he don't want to fight. Look at him sitting out the ring again. He's sitting down too long and all that good stuff. Well, the reason the Errol Spence fight date keep getting pushed back is because they're trying to take care of this particular situation right now. They're trying to make sure that all of the paperwork is right for this Sebastian Fundora and Errol Spence fight. I think that's what TWTea was asking, right? Why the fight? What's the holdup? I think she's talking about Fundora and Errol Spence. The holdup is they're trying to make sure all that the paperwork is right, TWTea. That's what they're doing. They're trying to get all the belts. They're trying to make sure they can make this the biggest fight possible, right? So what's bigger than the championship fight? What's bigger than the championship fight is a unification fight. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make sure that it's a championship fight. They're trying to make sure it's a unification fight and not just a championship fight. Because if you get Errol Spence, let's just say Errol Spence just lost to Bud Crawford, right? But if he moves up to 154, then again, Bud Crawford will have to go through Errol Spence again if he wanted to get, undisputed at 154. My guy, Carl Brown. Carl Brown, do your boy a favor, Carl Brown. Do me a favor, Carl Brown. Hit that thumbs up for your boy, man. Subscribe to the channel. I don't know if it's your first time, Carl, but do your boy solid, man. Don't make it your last time, man. We talk these good boxing, sports, parlays, predictions every single day, not just today. I just want to come. I want to get this little tad bit because y'all know this is an Errol Spence page, man. Right? I just want to give y'all a little info on it. Let y'all know what's going on. Bud Crawford is, still doing Bud Crawford things, right? He's still doing Bud Crawford things. He's not going to fight Fundora. Probably waiting on another EJ fight, right? He keep pushing this Canelo fight. I don't think this Canelo and Bud, I don't really think it's a real thing. I do think it's a money. I do think Bud wants to do it, right? Because it'd be nice money for Bud. So if I'm Bud, right, I most definitely would want to do it. But I don't think that Canelo is very interested in it. I don't think that Canelo is very interested in that fight. So Bud probably won't end up fighting Canelo. I say this. I'm really done trying to figure out exactly what Bud Crawford is going to do, right? Because Bud Crawford and Tank are a lot alike in a lot of senses, right? It's like the thing that makes the most sense, you could almost guarantee that Bud and Tank not going to do it, right? The thing that the fans, and that's why I like Errol Spence, right? Because the things that the fans like the most, the things that the fans value the most, you can almost guarantee that Errol Spence is going to do that, right? And over history, he just has shown me that the things that the fans value the most, you can almost count on the fact that Bud is probably going to do the opposite. Kind of just like Gervonta Tank Davis. They probably go do the opposite, right? So I'm really done trying to figure out, their moves, right, as far as what they going to do. Because I literally know for a fact, that, Tank would have fought Rayo, right? But everybody was talking about him fighting Rayo. So they ended up bringing up Lamar Roach. You know what I mean? Ended up bringing up Lamar Roach, right? But shout out Errol Spence, though, man, for actually, giving the people what they want, making fights that make sense, right? And for making fights that move the sport forward, not just move, Making fights that move the sport forward, not just making lateral movement fights. Lateral movement fights are cool when you don't get, a big fight on the table. When you got big fights on the table, lateral movement fights just don't make a whole lot of sense. And shout out Errol Spence, because Errol Spence don't give you a whole lot of lateral movement fights. I wish he did give you a couple more lateral movement fights, right? Because everybody else has turned it into the business of boxing. Maybe my favorite fighter should turn into the business of boxing too. The difference between Bud and Tank is Bud don't have star power like Tank now. And Tank ain't never had, undisputed or nothing like that like Bud. But they the same fighter in the sense, they the same fight. Bud is 1,000 times more accomplished than Tank, right? But they the same fighter. They the same fighter in the sense where it's like they both assholes, right? They both assholes. Right? Like they both assholes. Like you just never really know what they gonna do. You really can't listen to them. You really can't listen to what they say, because they'll say one thing and then they'll do another, right? They'll say, I'm gonna do this, they'll do it. So you kind of just gotta wait to see who they gonna fight. You never know. It's always, they the same in the sense where it's always gonna be a random ass opponent. Like you never really gonna know who they fight. It's always gonna be a random ass opponent that you didn't ask for, right? It's probably gonna be a random ass opponent that you didn't ask for. You know what I mean? Somebody out of left field, right? Somebody who might be good, but somebody you really ain't never just really heard of. Like they're not the sexiest fight. They don't give you major fights. Look at, like, if you put up Errol Spence's resume and then you put them next to a lot of these dudes' resume, and you look at the guys that Errol Spence is fighting back to 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 back, it's really uncomparable. You know what I mean? Actually, it's really uncomparable. But when fans are so fickle, right? Fans are so fickle. So many new fans, right? People will forget. Fans these days, if you take one loss, they say your career is over. They don't care the fact that you're fighting top competition on the daily basis, right? They don't care that you probably just lost to the best fighter in the world. Really, these days, you could just knock out scrubs all day and people go like you. Really, because that's really what it's about. It's a popularity contest. It's not about being great anymore, right? It's now, to most fighters, it's a popularity contest. It's not about being great anymore. For most of these fighters, it's about holding on to their oath so they can say, I'm Floyd Mayweather, right? Because if they never lost, then it's hard to argue that, if they never lose, then you could make up and you could switch and you could paint any narrative that you want to fight. I mean, that you want to put out about that fighter, right? If they never lose. Well, he never lost. Well, he never fought nobody either. But people don't care about, the competition level. People just care about you winning. As long as you getting the knockout, you can sell tickets. And that's what a lot of these fighters realize. I'm not even mad at them for it. Tank being number one. As long as I can sell tickets, I don't have to do nothing. I don't have to fight nobody really. Because these people go come buy these tickets. You know what I mean? Because they like me. They go buy these tickets, right? Shout out to Errol Spence though for actually fighting the top fighters and selling tickets, right? That's what make you the greatest. Floyd Mayweather one walking around, cherry picking guys from lower divisions and bringing them up. Floyd Mayweather one saying, well, I'm not going to fight this guy. I'm going to let this guy fight that guy. I'm going to let this guy fight that guy, right? You know what I mean? And it's just different mentality for different fighters. I don't necessarily put all the weight. I don't necessarily put all the weight on the I don't actually put all the weight on that O that everybody else puts on that O, right? The O means something, but it also means more with who you get on that list. Like Errol Spence being 29-1 holds more weight to me than Gervonta Tank Davis being 29-0 or 30-0 or whatever the fuck that he is, right? Because some people have Gervonta Tank Davis higher on their pound for pound list, than Errol Spence, and that's mostly recency bias, right? But level of competition matters, right? You know what I mean? So Dale might take a tune up, Shakur hurt, ride, decline, ride, spin, T.O. will probably himself out. It wasn't a lot of options for Tank. See, it's like See, this thing about with Tank fans too. Not saying my guy Jizzle. It's like now you could say that, right? But before he made that fight, you know what I mean? Before he made that fight, he said he was gonna fight. He said he was going to fight Devin or Shakur after he fought Hector Garcia and Ryan Garcia, right? So this ain't nothing just recently, right? He said this years ago. Like there was space of opportunity in between that years ago. But what y'all told me then was, oh, he's in jail. Let him get out of jail. And then he got out of jail. Y'all told me, give him some time to breathe. He gonna fight, you know, and then he ended up fighting Frank Martin. You know what I mean? But you know, I know with Tank, it's always a reason. It's always everybody else, right? It's always everybody else with Tank. I'm not even tripping on that no more. You know what I mean? As far as they go with Javante. I just let Javante and his fans be Javante and his fans because you know, that's just how I go with Javante. I ain't even tripping on it. That man don't got. If I'm Javante, I'm not fighting nobody. If I'm Javante, I'm not fighting nobody. I'm not fighting nobody with the post. I'm not fighting nothing because I don't have to. Because my fans go take what I give them. You know what I mean? My fans go take what I give them. So shout out to Tank. Tank the smartest businessman in the world. Tank the smart. I'm going to keep bringing up guys with no power, knocking them out. I'm going to keep bringing them up with no power, knocking them out. People going to call me the greatest for knocking out small dudes I know can't really hurt me. You know what I mean? Smart. I wish my favorite fighter, Aaron, would be more strategic like Bud and more like Javante Tank Davis. Because at some point, man, right? Because at some point, right, you got to realize that this ain't the old days. Like this is not the Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns era, right? This is not that era. What's the other one named the bald head guy? Marvelous Hagler. This is not that era. This is not the era of the best fight the best no more. And I have accepted that. I have accepted that as a boxing fan, man. I have accepted it as a boxing fan. This is not the era of the best fight the best anymore. This is the business era. This is the business of boxing era. This is the business of boxing era. You know what I mean? And Mike Tyson was a business. You could argue, DS, that every time Mike Tyson fought another fighter, he's equal in his prime. You know, he lost. You know what I mean? But that's exactly what I'm saying. Tank is kind of like Mike Tyson, right? 19-0, sweep to everybody. You know what I mean? Lost to Buster, lost like the big fights. Like, you know, he lost them. You know, he beat some guys on the back end, the Larry Holmes and all that good shit, right? You know what I mean? But yeah, he's like he's selling. He's being sold. I think Tank is like that. He's being sold to his fans. Like he's a ticket. You know what I mean? He's a ticket, not necessarily when he's done, he's I'm not going to lie, David have a better chance at being Tank than Shakur. Sure, he lays his hands, go move like go. Oh yeah. In fact, shout out my guy Trap Me. It was good, Trap. Appreciate you sliding through this thing. Trap, if y'all could hit that thumbs up for your boy. I know it's bright and early in the morning, man. Some of y'all is at work. Some of y'all making the do. Appreciate y'all folks for passing through. Shout out that one subscriber that I got. I think that was my guy, Info. Carl Brown, if you could do your boy solid, man, could you subscribe to the channel as well? But Bud Crawford and Sebastian Fundora is looking like that is probably going to be for unification, right? When that fight does happen. He said, what I did is getting down, y'all pound up. I'm just saying now, bro, just all the facts, like no fandom to it, bro. Like Mike Tyson was a media. No, he's a media push too. Not saying he wasn't one of the best fighters in the world because he can't fight, just like Tank. But they are big media pushes. You know what I mean? They were big media pushes. But I digress, man. Errol Spence, Sebastian Fundora, pending the WBO's, you know, final say so on Errol Spence being ranked in the top 10. Who you talking about, AB? Shout out my guy, AB, the IT. What's good, AB? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, G. Glad you can make it. What you mean? He said if EJ comes in and beat him easy, he's going to look suspect. What you mean, AB? If he beat Fundora easy? But Fundora and EJ is basically pending if the WBO is going to give EJ that clearance to be in the top 10 for the WBO ranking system. He said, I don't even think it's scary. He gonna move his own time. He goes, ain't definitely gotta hold his feet to the fire. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Facts, bro. But I digress, man. Facts, though, Jizzle. Facts. He's I've been subscribed to the channel, just didn't know, but I smashed the like button already. Okay, appreciate you. But the reason that the Errol Spence fight, keep getting pushed back, I know some people are wondering. and whatnot. The fight is going to happen. It's not because, Errol is out of shape or nothing like that. Again, the picture you see in my thumbnail is from Errol Spence training this week. The picture you see in my thumbnail is from Errol Spence training this week. Errol Spence is in the gym. That picture you see on my thumbnail, if you want to go back and check it out now, you can do so. That is Errol Spence as of this week. Right? That's as of this week training in Dallas. That picture was taken bright and early. In the morning. Green Villain Mike. Do your boy solid, Green Villain Mike. My boy Green Villain Mike. Do your boy solid, man. Could you hit that thumbs up for your boy? And could you subscribe to the channel? I don't know if it's your first time. Do your boy solid. Don't make it your last time. Green Villain Mike. Subscribe to that channel, man. We talk this good boxing, MMA, sports, parlays, predictions every single day. Not just today, man. We ain't here having us a 154 conversation. Just in here shedding some light on, what's the Errol Spence Jr. fight hold up. Shout out my guy, Green Villain. But I'm just in here telling everybody what's been the hold up on Errol Spence. I know Errol Spence, had his fight pushed back a couple times, right? The talked about that, but it's been pushed back because he's trying to make it an even bigger fight, right, than the original, right? He's trying to make it for a 2-belt unification rather than just, that 1 belt for the WBC. And I think that, they're going to do it. The WBC just had a convention in which Errol Spence's team was represented. Shout out for that subscriber. I appreciate you subscribing to that channel. I don't know if that was Green Villain. I got 2 more. I'm guessing it was Green Villain and Info. Shout out my guys, Green Villain and Info, for subscribing to that channel. Right, but just want to come give y'all a little info. You know what I mean, on what's the hold up with the Errol Spence fight. Now he not retiring. I heard somebody say, the man on steroids, right? You know what I mean? That's why he keep pushing the fight back and all that good shit. People go say what they want to say, right? But the real is, they're trying to get EJ in that 155 ranking. They're trying to get EJ in that 154 WBO ranking, right? So that they can make this a unification fight for Sebastian Fundora and Errol Spence, right? Last 5 minutes, right? Y'all got some questions. Y'all ask the questions. I'm about to make these bets soon. Actually, I'm about to open up this waiver wire pretty soon for the NFL. Actually went past my 8 o'clock, slate. Right, so we finna do the waiver wire, man. We finna make some bases. Fundora is good, but I don't see him lasting with Errol for 12 rounds. Remember, people, Errol Spence has definitely been breaking bones, and that's a real fact. He don't have to go down to 147. Y'all ready for Errol to get back in the ring? And if Errol get back in the ring and he beat Sebastian Fundora, that's gonna stop a lot of this disrespect that's going on. You would think that Errol lost to a scrub, right? Errol lost to Bud Crawford. You would think he lost to a scrub how everybody in the world can beat him now. You would think he lost to a scrub how everybody in the world can beat him now, right? Since he took that one loss. But I do think stylistically, Sebastian Fundora is the kind of guy that Errol Spence wants to fight. He's not a guy that's going to be using angles. He's not a guy that's going to be using his boxing ability. He's a guy that's probably going to stand there and he's probably going to trade with Errol. And we've seen throughout history, when you stand there and you trade with Errol, you usually lose that fight, right? Your Daniel Ugas, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia. Normally, that's a fight that you lose. Right? Bud Crawford beat Errol Spence with angles. Fundora is not an angle guy. That's going to be a high guard. There's going to be a high guard who got the most heart kind of fight. And I think Errol Spence has a hell of a chance, you know what I mean, in that fight versus Sebastian Fundora. When it first got announced, right, I was a little skeptical, but the more that I think about it, the more we get closer to it. And now that I'm finally starting to, you know, feel that this fight is real, because it is a real thing now, right? We're just waiting for that WBO. Now that I'm more starting to feel like that it is a real thing, I'm thinking Errol Spence is going to win. Is going to win this fight. Now, they could just be the Errol Spence fan in me, right? They could be the blind fan in me, but stylistically, I do think this is a better fight. I do think this is a good fight, not a better fight, right? I do think this is a good fight for Errol Spence, and I think this is a great fight for boxing because we get Errol Spence in this comeback fight. Hopefully, he puts it in Texas, right? I think they should put it in Texas, which is probably where it's going to be, but the holdup in this thing was they're trying to get it to be unification instead of just single belt, right? So they're going for a unification fight instead of a single belt fight, right? So that's the holdup. So don't listen to all that other news and whatnot. And as far as Crawford ducking Fundora, Crawford decided not to accept the fight with Sebastian Fundora, so they made Turnbull Crawford interim champ in the WBO. He is the current champ in WBA. You got Jermell Charlo waiting. You got Jermell Charlo waiting in the wings to get his shot at Turnbull Crawford. So Turnbull Crawford may very well end up having to fight Jermell Charlo for that WBA, unless he goes for a unification with the guy that just beat Tim Tszyu. His name is slipping me. Unless he goes for a unification with the guy that just beat Tim Tszyu, he's probably going to be looking at. He's probably going to be looking at a fight with Jermell Charlo is Bud Crawford. But the Errol Spence and Fundora fight could possibly be for the WBO because Turnbull Crawford decided that he didn't want to fight. Terrence Crawford decided that he didn't want to fight Sebastian Fundora, right? So there's that. But I ain't gonna keep y'all in this thing too much longer, man. I'll keep y'all in here too much longer. I'm gonna be back with some more news that you could use. Yeah, Charlo said he about to make his comeback. Charlo is the WBA champ in recess. He's still the WBA champ in recess, right? So him and Bud Crawford are on the collision course for sure. With him being the champ in recess, when Charlo decides that he wants to fight for his strap, he's going to get first dibs. You know what I mean? Fighting for his straps. He may end up taking a fight in between it, right? But Bud is WBA champ. Charlo is the champ in recess. You know what I mean? So Bud may end up having a fight Charlo if he wants to keep his status at the 154-pound division. I personally think that's why he keeps saying that he kind of wants to fight Canelo. He said, have we ever seen Errol tire after long layoff and still be going 12 at all? I don't know. I think Errol is Errol. Errol could have went 12 with Bud Crawford. Errol didn't gas out. Errol didn't gas out against Bud Crawford, after his layoff. He didn't gas out. They stopped the fight. He was getting up every time, right? They basically stopped that fight because he took a lot of damage. He had cuts. He was bleeding and whatnot, right? So he took that fight. His gas tank has never been an issue. Now, is his face going to hold up, right? I don't want him to take as much punishment as he took in that fight with Sebastian Fundora, right? I don't want him taking all that punishment, you know what I mean? Because then his face, shout out that one person that just subscribed to the channel too. I got 4,490 subscribers. Now I appreciate that. I appreciate that to them 3 subscribers. They just subscribed to the channel. Y'all the real MVP. Wish I knew who y'all was so I could thank y'all personally, right? But he didn't look tired in that fight against Bud Crawford, right? He didn't look tired, right? He didn't look like he was gassing in that fight versus, Bud Crawford. He didn't necessarily look like himself, but he didn't look like he got tired in that fight at all. Because a tired man is not going to keep getting up off the ground like that, right? You know what I mean? And I mean that as a compliment, right? A dude that's tired, not going to keep getting up off the ground like that. Like Devin Haney, he got beat up by Ryan. Ryan cheated, right? He cheated, right? So it didn't count. Motherfuckers on steroids, whether you like it or not, right? Motherfuckers on steroids. But, Devin wasn't tired in that fight. He just kept getting knocked down. I don't think EJ got a gas tank issue or nothing like that. You know what I mean? I personally think that's the kind of fight, though. I think that's the kind of fight that, I think that's the kind of fighter, right, that's good for EJ. Some at this point in his career, right? Somebody who's gonna be in front of him, somebody who's gonna want to bring the fight back to him. He had to go find Bud. Bud used the angles, right? He used the angles on him, and he had to go find Bud. He's not gonna have to be looking for Fundora like that, right? Not gonna have to be looking for Fundora like that. I think there's gonna be a hell of a fight. Again, the more close we get to that fight, the more excited I get about it, because I'm here. Like I feel like this fight is now. I feel like this fight is going to happen. At first, it was kind of like a fly on the wall, but the closer we get, this fight gonna happen, man. Pending this WBO thing. He said, word to this guy was back on his feet less than 3 seconds every time Bud dropped him. They tell me he didn't have no legs after the first drop. Real talk. He said, heard from someone locked in UFC. O'Malley getting the rematch. Chisel O'Malley versus Mirab 2. I can see that. I can see that, Jizzle. Shout out my guy, Coach Joe. I can see that. Oh, that reminds me, I got to do my UFC video today. That reminds me, I got to do my UFC prediction video today. Yeah. But I ain't gonna lie, bro. I gotta make my bets for the day, too. I gotta make my bets for the day, man. So that's what we finna do, y'all. Shay, girl. What's good, Shay? What's good, Shay? I hit everything last night except for that motherfucking Xavier Worthy 25 yards. I knew I shouldn't have added that shit. I knew I shouldn't have added the Xavier Worthy 25 yards. And the crazy part is Xavier Worthy got that 25 yards and they called that motherfucker back. But anyway, I digress. He said after Bud dropped Spence, Spence was still the one pressing the fight. Yeah, facts, Carl. He had to go find Bud Crawford. I don't think he's not gonna have to go find Sebastian Fundora like that, right? Yo, I got 17 people in the building. I got 8 likes in here. I know more than 8 of y'all been through here because I'm looking at more than 8 of y'all in here right now, man. So can I get all 17 of y'all to hit that thumbs up for your boy Winner having this boxing conversation, having us an Errol Spence conversation? Just want to lay some news that you could use on you real quick. Just want to lay some news that you could use on you real quick. Again, y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy if you ain't. Y'all subscribe to the channel if you ain't. Shout out my 3 new subscribers that just came through here. I'm gonna be getting back more to the boxing talk. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be getting more back to my breaking news. So I'm gonna start breaking the news again. Why the fuck not, right? Cause I'm going back up for monetization, right? So I'm trying to ease my way on back into the fold. Y'all remember I did that 3-day live. The other day. I still ain't got my numbers tallied on that. So I'm trying to let them tally those numbers. Then I'm gonna see exactly where I'm at as far as the 247 watch hours that I needed. Hopefully I knocked out at least 100 and something, maybe a little more than 100 and something with that last jump, right? But we about to get back to our regularly scheduled programming. He said, if Fundora wins, shout out my guy AB. My guy AB said, if Fundora wins, is it over with for EJ? AB, I'll be real with you. As I roll this blunt up, AB, shout out my guy AB to IT. My bad, I missed your question. I ain't finna go. I'm gonna hang around a little bit long. Y'all got questions? Y'all ask y'all questions. Y'all got questions? Y'all got shit y'all want to drop? Y'all drop it. But to answer your question, bro, in my opinion, honestly, bro, I'm one of the biggest EJ fans you can find, bro. If he loses to Fundora, depending on how he loses, right? If he gets beat up and he gets beat down, right? You know what I mean? Then yeah. If he gets beat up the way he got beat up by Bud, then yeah, probably, right? Probably. But if it's like a close fight, if it's questionable, if he possibly won, right? If it's some fuck shit that went on, then no, I don't think Earl has to retire, just depending on the way that the loss looks, right? Because he only got one loss, right? He's really only been damaged in one fight. And personally, I think more of that damage still is coming from that car accident more than anything, right? So I just think he has to be a little more aware that, his body isn't that iron metal that it used to be, right? He's not that iron that he used to be. He's more like, you know what I mean? He's not iron and steel anymore. He's more like wood now, right? Still pretty tough, right? But not quite the same. You know what I mean? Not steel. Wood is pretty tough, right? But not steel. You know what I mean? So I just think he has to fight a little more defensively sound. Not too much more, just a little more defensively sound. And I think he'll be all right. But I tell you, if Errol Spence wins, then that's 10 times a better story than Errol Spence losing. That's 10 times better for boxing than Errol Spence losing, because if Errol Spence wins, that opens up the door for so many more different fights, right? That opens up the door for so many more different fights. And I'm going to be here for it. Man. Boxing, I say this. Boxing needs Errol Spence, right? Errol Spence has a really, really big fan base in boxing. Boxing needs Errol Spence. Boxing needs Errol Spence, and boxing needs Errol Spence to be good, right? I think like y'all know it's the saying for the NFL, right? If the Cowboys are playing good, then the NFL is better, right? If the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing good, then the NFL is better, right? Basically, if the star teams in the NFL are playing good, then the NFL is better. Errol Spence is one of the biggest stars we have in boxing today. If Errol Spence is doing good, then that's better for boxing. Tank is one of the biggest names in boxing. That's good for boxing. Tank understands that. So Tank understands, as long as I don't never lose, I can sit on top of the game as long as I want to, right? Tank doing well is good for boxing, right? But when it comes to Errol Spence, it's like he has that popularity and he has the resume. He has the backing. He has the big fights. He has the names on his resume. He's legit. There ain't no fluff. There ain't no foo-foo with Errol Spence's resume. There ain't no he ducked this guy. He ducked that guy. He ain't fought this guy. He ain't fought that guy. Every welterweight that came up with Errol Spence that somebody said he should fight. And that matter of fact, oh, I'll give you one, AB. Nah, Errol Spence not done, because guess what, AB? If Errol Spence loses to Sebastian Fundora, he can go fight Keith Thurman. Errol Spence has fought every single welterweight. Matter of fact, if he loses to Fundora, you can put him in there with Lara. And if he loses to Lara, then he can go fight Keith Thurman, right? So my guy, depending on how bad he lose, if he barely lose, you know what I mean? Come on, man. That dude got a bunch of fights left in him. Errol Spence got a huge fan base. You know what I mean? He got a huge fan base. So that, I mean, as long as, bro, if he could be adequate, bro, he could give us some fights. You know what I mean? If he wins, if he beats Fundora, the world gonna go crazy, nigga. If he beats Fundora, bro, the boxing world is gonna go fucking crazy, dog. But if he lose, though, man, he still got fights on deck. If he lose, he could go fight Lara, maybe. He could go fight Keith Thurman. If he lose, he can go fight Keith Thurman, beat him up, and then fight Lara. Him and Keith Thurman can fight at 160, 157, and then he can go fight Lara right after that. Get a bounce back. He lose to Fundora, right? Boom. Fight Keith Thurman, beat Keith Thurman up. Boom. Go up to 160. You fight Lara. My boy back. You feel me? Like, easy. Like, it's fights for him. Charlo going to have to fight Bud. Charlo is in title contention. If Charlo get the strap, then yeah. But Charlo more than likely go fight Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford gonna have a decision to make. Bud Crawford is gonna have a Jamal Charlo decision to make pretty soon. Stay dangerous. Shout out to my guys. Stay dangerous. Appreciate y'all folks sliding through. Yo, I got 8 likes in here. I got 15 people in here now. I don't know, you know, how long y'all gonna be here, but y'all do your boy solid. Y'all hit that thumbs up. I know more than 8 of y'all been in here, right? Because it say 15 of y'all in here right now. So y'all do your boy right, man. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. Let YouTube know that we live. Let YouTube know that we talking this good boxing, right? But now to answer your question, bro, even if I got 24 likes, why the fuck you say I got 8 likes then? But anyway, I digress. My bad. But anyway, I digress. Male is the champ in recess. Bud Crawford is the champ. They going to have to fight. They going to have to fight. My nigga Jizzle keeps saying he fighting Raymond. Yeah, he probably is. But he's the champ in recess. He's the champion recess, so he's going to fight. He's going to fight Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford ain't gonna fight Ramos, right? But him being the champion recess, he's going to have to fight Bud Crawford. If Charlo and Bud don't fight, that means somebody ducked somebody. If Charlo and Bud don't fight, that means somebody ducked somebody. Whoever lead that thing without the strap, that's the guy that ducked. Like Fundora and Bud, it was supposed to be a fight. And Bud decided not to. Not gonna say that Bud ducked him, right? But I'm telling y'all, my guy Stacey said EJ and Charlo and Bud are on the crash course. They on the crash course. My guy Jizzle keeps saying Ramos, maybe, right? But the big fight. That's what EJ should have fought him a Ramos in between fighting Fundora. Like, let's say Charlo do fight Ramos, which is crazy. Why not just fight Lubin? But anyway. Maybe they're setting up a Charlo versus Lubin. But anyway, I digress. I'm just talking now. About that Charlo Lubin. Right? You know what I mean? Okay, Stay, I see it. But as far as Charlo and EJ go, Stay. Charlo and Bud. Charlo and Bud on the crash collision course. You know what I mean? They on the crash collision course. Go check the WBA rankings. Like if you sitting in here right now, go check the WBA 154-pound rankings, right? And you'll see that Bud Crawford the champ, and you got Charlo sitting at champion recess. You know what I mean? You know? But I digress. He said how many big names have Bud fought besides Arrow? No hate. I'm just asking. Yeah, and pretty much, man, Carl, I think Bud realized that, man, that really was the only guy that Bud had to beat. Right? Sure enough. I think Bud realized that that really was the only guy that he had to beat. And once Bud beat him, you know what I mean? But the part that was killing me was, man, we supposed to have those fights back to back. We could have had those fights back to back. All Bud had to do, right, was fight EJ at 154. He's going to end up having a fight. Well, if EJ beats Fundora, right? But then again, you just never know with Bud, right? Because, like, again, just like Tank, man, Bud moves at the beat of his own drum. Like, you just never really know what those guys want to do. Like, you think it makes sense. If it makes too much sense, you could almost be certain that, you know, that he's not going to do it. But I personally couldn't tell you what the hell Bud Crawford was going to do right now. But I know what Bud Crawford was going to have to do pretty soon. Right? I know what Bud Crawford was going to have to do pretty soon. And pretty soon, Bud Crawford is going to have to fight Jermell Charlo. My guy, hey, I got something on that, Coach Jizzle. I got something on that, Coach Joe. My guy, Coach Joe, said, I don't think he want to fight Mel. Look at the bigger picture. His backup plan was EJ at 154. Hey, I'll give you one even better, Coach Joe. I don't think he want to fight Mel either. Let me tell you why, Coach Joe. What other reason will he keep pushing this? What other reason will he keep pushing this Canelo Alvarez fight for? Right? It's because he's trying to lead that division. Because he sees Sebastian Fundora right there. He sees Jermell Charlo right there. And I'm just under the I'm one of the ones who's thinking that he's not overly excited to fight either of those guys right now. The Charlos, or the Sebastian Fundoras. Personally, I don't think he's just in the rush to fight the guy that just beat Tim Tszyu. Right? Beck. I don't think he's in the rush to fight Beck right now. So what would make the most sense? He'll make the most money fighting Canelo. If he lose to Canelo, it's a built-in excuse that Canelo was just too big, right? You know what I mean? And he get a big bag. I'm thinking he's trying to avoid Charlo already, kind of, sort of, because, you know, the constant bringing up the Canelo Alvarez situation when you got a lot of fights at that 154-pound division, right? If Bud really wanted, you know, the big fights, why not just fight EJ at 54, right? He avoided the EJ fight at 50. He really ducked. If you're being honest, man, you could call it strategic and whatnot, and he already beat Errol. So you could say, well, you already beat him. But he ducked Errol again after the fight. He ducked the rematch at 154. Neither of them guys was staying at 154-pound division. He wanted Errol to stay at 47 to take a rematch, and then they both at 54 right now. Come on, man. You know, but what I'm saying, you just never know it. But his moves, he just moved funny. Great fighter. Probably whoop my ass. Probably whoop a lot of people's ass. I could wrestle too, though, bud. What you talking about? But anyway, I digress. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Probably whoop a lot of people's ass, though. But, man, you know, his moves ain't always solid. You know, his moves not always solid. But I can't even knock Bud Crawford, right? I can't even knock Bud Crawford. Like, I can't even knock Bud Crawford, right? Because that's what the game has turned into. It's turned to a business. It's all business. Shout out to Errol Spence for keeping business and boxing together. You know what I mean? But boxing has become a business, bro. And I can't even really knock Bud for making the best business decision. When people don't give a fuck about you being, you know, the greatest no more. And really, Bud already, and we've been honest, and I hate to say it, Bud really already stamped himself out of the EJ win. If Bud don't do shit else, man, that EJ win is going to stamp him. Imagine how good that Bud Crawford win go look if EJ come and he beat the shit out of Fundora. Imagine if EJ come beat the fuck out of Fundora. Imagine how good that Errol Spence win go look on Bud resume. Man. That dude is shrewd. That dude is shrewd, man. I'm telling you, Bud's smart, man. They say heart take you a long way and then they get you knocked out. Bud is making keen business decisions right now, and I can't even knock that, man. And I can't even knock because the fans are accepting it. The fans are accepting of the bullshit these days. like my guy DS, right? My guy DS in here clowning EJ. He said, oh, he gonna get bust up by Fundora. He gonna get bust up by Lara, right? Not even looking at the fact that his favorite fighter fighting scrubs. You know what I'm saying? We'll come here, we'll laugh at EJ for fighting some of the best fighters in the fucking world, for fighting top level fighters at the top of the division, right? It's a joke. But if EJ was fighting a scrub, man, it wouldn't be nothing to talk about. You know, it won't be nothing to talk about. But I like that, though, because my favorite fighter ain't no hoe. I'm going to make sure Bud Crawford. I'm going to make sure that people understand context of all this shit. I'm going to make sure. That's what I'm here for. That's what niggas like me here for, right? That's why country crabs like me here for, right? And that's why I probably am going to get back to content creating, right? Because you need people like me. You need people like me to point out the foo-foo of how we can shit on fighters with like Errol Spence with one loss to the number one ranked fighter in the world. But we give kudos, right, to people who are fighting no motherfucking bodies, right? Or people who are fighting guys much smaller than them or much less skilled than them, right? Of a much lower pedigree. Man, go look at Errol Spence. Let me show y'all something real quick. Just take a look at this shit. And I'm finna now tell me, I guarantee you this. Let's look at my favorite fighter resume. Let's look at my favorite fight in the last 5 fights, right? Now anybody in here, anybody, I dare anybody in here. I dare anybody in here to show me a fighter. I dare anybody in here to show me a fighter with a better fucking resume than Errol Spence Jr. I dare you. I dare you go find me a fighter with a better resume than Errol Spence Jr. Right motherfucking now. Because you can't. You motherfucking can't, nigga. You can't. Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Yordenis Ugas, Terrence fucking Crawford. Let's go back a little bit. Chris Algieri, Kell Brook, Lamont Peterson, Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Yordenis Ugas, Terrence Crawford. Look at this man last 5 fights. Mikey, Sean, Danny, Ugas, Terrence Buck. Name me a fighter. I'll wait. Name me a better fucking fighter. 30-2, 36-2, 27-4, 39-0. Name me a fighter with a better fucking resume than Errol Spence Jr. Guess what? You motherfucking can't. You fucking can't. You fucking can't, bro. Errol Spence Jr. has the best resume of any boxer. Boxing today, nigga. Once Floyd retired, nigga. Once Floyd retired, Floyd is done. Look at all the top boxers. Look at their resume. Errol Spence has the fucking best resume of any boxer today. And you got niggas talking about he not in the Hall of Fame. Get your stupid ass up out of here. That nigga is the best welterweight of his time. He is because Terrence Bud Crawford came up a division to beat him. He said better than Canelo. I mean, all right, let's do this. All right, so let's do this. Canelo will be the one. Hey, shout out to my guy DS. Canelo will be the one. But that's it. That'll be the one right there, DS. So Canelo and Errol Spence. Right? And you can say Canelo has been given 10 times more opportunity than Errol Spence. Right? 10 times more opportunity than Errol Spence. And actually, I'll give you John Ryder, garbage. Garbage. Callum Smith, garbage. John Ryder not going to the fame. Callum Smith not going to the Hall of Fame. Sean Porter going to the Hall of Fame. Yordenis Ugas going to the Hall of Fame. Terrence Crawford going to the Hall of Fame. Man, Canelo fought Bivol. Canelo fought Caleb Plant. Bro, he ain't fought nobody in fucking years. We going off Canelo resume from years ago, 10 years ago. 10 years ago. You got to go back. You got to get Trout. You got to get Canelo. You got to get Triple G and shit. Them niggas been retired for 4 years. I'm talking about right now. I'm talking right now. Bivol Hall of Famer. Name me the guy in his last 5 fights he fought is going to the Hall of Fame. Right? Overall, Canelo resume may be up there. Overall, if you're going back 10 years and shit ago. Right? But as of late, what fighter is doing what Errol Spence is doing, dog? Look at Canelo. Let's look at Canelo last fight. Let's go to Canelo. My guy said Canelo. Let's go to Canelo. Let's go to Canelo box rate. Right? And Canelo got 60-something fucking fights, right? So, but let's check it out. John Ryder, Jermell Charlo, Munguia, Eric Berlanga. Bro, they're my prospects. Bro, those fucking prospects. Those are fucking prospects. Those fucking prospects, man. Man. These are prospects, bruh. Jermell Charlo. Bruh, Munguia and Berlanga, them fucking prospects. What are we talking about here? Then he got Triple G, old ass Triple G. That's an old ass Triple G, right? That's an old ass Triple G. Not the first time. Billy Joe, Callum, Berlanga, Munguia, Ryder, Charlo. And Charlo came from 154. Fuck no, Canelo resume ain't better than Errol Spence. And no, it's not. Maybe as a total, because nigga, you got 30 extra fights. Maybe in the total, right? Maybe in total. But fuck no. Damn sure not as of late. No, nobody resume is fucking with Errol Spence's resume, man. That dude got the best resume. He got the best resume of any fighter in our time. And if you look at Canelo, oh my God. If Errol Spence fought as many scrubs as Canelo, bro, oh my God. Come on, bro. Look at his last couple, bro. Berlanga, no, bro. Errol Spence has the best fucking resume, bro. Your favorite fighter resume ain't shit like Errol Spence resume, and you got niggas out here talking down on Errol Spence. That's what I'm saying. It's boxing fans. Boxing fans so foo-foo. Boxing fans so foo-foo and fugazi. You know what I mean? You would think Errol Spence got beat by a scrub. He got beat by a nigga 39-0. He got beat by a nigga 39-0. Newsflash. Hold on. Newsflash. He got beat by a nigga, bro. But Errol Spence is the best welterweight of this generation. Errol Spence is the best welterweight of this generation. He may have lost to the best fighter of this generation. Because Terrence Crawford is 140 pounds, if we being real, right? He's the best 147 pounder of this generation. You got to put some respect on Big Fish, man. But I'm up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all folks sliding through this thing. Skin the Hardaway Southern Tea. This ain't the past. This ain't the future, but this the present. That's how we rocking, and I'm out. Look. Y'all remember, man, subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend. Let's make these best for the day, man. And I'm out this thing.